Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I'm doing my very first Q&A on my channel. So exciting. So I asked you guys to give me some questions that you have about school or about me or just kind of any general questions that you have. So I just kind of compiled all the questions that I've gotten in the last couple of days into a list, and I'm just going to go ahead and go through and answer them. And this is really good because sometimes it's kind of hard to give a full explanation or a full answer in a comment, you know, because I don't want to type you like a novel. So this will be good to kind of get some of the general questions that I get asked answered. So let's get into it. The first question I have is, what are the prerequisites for getting into pharmacy school? So this question is kind of hard to answer because every school has different requirements. Now, most have kind of like a baseline similar requirements, but every school can vary on specific classes and stuff. In general, every school will require like your Gen Chem, general chemistry, your general biology, probably Calc 1, and those are just kind of basic general requirements. Organic chemistry is another one. But then other schools might be more specific. Like some schools might require economics, English. I think actually most probably require English. Some might require genetics or like a specific like microbiology or biochemistry, where other schools might not require that. So what you really need to do is go to this website right here, the Pharmcast website, and I'll take you directly to the school directory. That's where that link will take you to. And what you want to do is look up the specific schools that you want to go to, and if you click on that school, it'll show you the prerequisites that that school requires. Don't take extra classes that you don't need unless you're just like really interested in it. But like for my school, it didn't require microbiology or anatomy or anything like that. So that's money that I could have saved. I actually did end up taking those. That was just because I wanted to boost my GPA. But look at that, because that can save you a lot of time and a lot of money, especially if you are someone who isn't planning on getting your bachelor's degree before pharmacy school, because some schools don't require a bachelor's degree. So definitely look at the prerequisites for what school you want to go to. You might want to make, you know, a list of like each school that you are going to apply to, and just kind of list out every single class required by all of those schools. And that way, you know, like every class that these schools require you will take before you apply or before you know, you would start school. So definitely look at the schools that you want to go to, because those prereqs will vary from school to school. Okay, my next question is, how do you get through a prerequisite you're bad at, aka physics? I feel you. I suck at physics. And you know what's really funny too is when I was a teacher, like my second year teaching, they wanted me to teach physics, and I told them, I was like, I'm not good at physics. And they were like, oh, but we need you to teach physics, so you're going to teach physics. It was the worst year of my life. It was so bad. I felt so bad for my students. But anyways, how do you get through a prerequisite that you're bad at? You got to work hard, you know. You really have to try to figure out what study methods work for your brain, you know. Because different people learn differently. Like some people can pull up a YouTube video and listen to someone explain it and they just get it, whereas other people really need to practice. Physics in its nature is very math-based, so I really recommend doing as many practice problems, doing as many scenarios and variations of the problems as you can. Doing hands-on, if you can do some labs or experiments, that always helps me, is when I like physically do the lab, because I can understand like, oh, changing this changes that, and it kind of helps you click it a little bit better. Answer practice questions. If your textbook has questions in the back of the book, even if your teacher doesn't require you to do them, I recommend doing them, especially if there's answers in the back of the book, because then you can kind of quiz yourself, which is really good prep for a test, because you know, you're answering questions. That's what a test is. So if you can practice using the questions in the book to quiz yourself, then that will really, really be a help. So I hope that helps a little bit. Physics is one of those classes I feel like where it's like you get it or you don't. But that just goes kind of for any class. Like if you're struggling in one of those prereqs, organic chemistry, I know a lot of people struggle with. I did. I actually got an F in organic 2 when I took it the first time. I had to take it a second time. But to be fair, I didn't study because I was like in my lazy college age years and I just didn't want to study. You really need to just figure out what study method works best for you, for your personality, and just do it. Like, do practice, do problems, do question and answers, just things like that really help. Maybe comparison tables, if you're in like microbiology or something, that's always really good. Comparing organisms to each other and things like that. So if you want specific ideas for like a specific class you're struggling with, definitely leave a comment below, and I'll try to give you just kind of some ideas on specifically like what you can do to help master that material. But in general, the best way that you can study for a class, I think, I mean, this is all my opinion, but answering questions, questions and answers and practice problems, and summaries like after a lecture or something, writing it in your own words, I think really helps too. I hope that helps. Okay, so my next question is more of a personal question. It says, will you be moving with your husband when you get married? And are you worried about grades and living the married life? So I actually already live with my fiance. I know. But we've lived together for a while now, so I will be living with him when I get married, because I already do. And I'm not worried about my grades because we've been living together already and I've been doing really well. Does he distract me sometimes? Yes, but I mean, if you live with roommates, they would distract you. You just gotta kind of figure out like what room to study in, or like, okay, he's home right now, like maybe I'll hang out with him for a little bit and then shut the door, or maybe I'll go study somewhere else today because he's just being too noisy and I just need like silence. So but yeah, he's really respectful of me, and he knows that I'm in a hard program, and he's really good with knowing like, okay, she's going in her office and she's shutting the door, like I need to not bug her. So but yeah, so I'm not worried about it because we've been doing it for a while now and it's been working really well. So the next question says, on a scale from 1 to 10, how competitive is it? And I'm assuming they mean to get in to pharmacy school. I don't know if you mean to get into pharmacy school or how competitive is being in pharmacy school. Being in pharmacy school, it isn't competitive because everybody got in and you're all just trying to succeed together. Now, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I get a little competitive, like what's my class rank? Because I just want to know how good I'm doing compared to everybody else. But it's not really a competitive thing. For me, it's more to gauge how my study methods are working. Like, am I falling below my classmates? Because that means I need to work harder and I need to change up some of my study habits. Now, if you're talking about how competitive it is to get into school, again, I really think that depends on the school that you're applying to, how big the class is. Are they like a really highly ranked school, if that makes sense? Like, is their PCAT score really high? Things like that. So I can't really answer that on a scale of 1 to 10 because it really is school specific. And it's hard to answer too, because like they take people you might not expect to get in will get in, whereas people you think would get in don't. Like, if you have a really high GPA, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get in. But if you have like a lower GPA maybe, but you have all these really cool extracurriculars or volunteering experience or other things that add to your resume or add to your application, you might get in over someone who has like an amazing GPA. So it really just depends. If you're concerned about like how competitive it is to get into the school you want, definitely look up that school's statistics. Look at their average GPA. You want to be there, you want to be there or above it. Look at their average PCAT. You want to be there or above it. Because that makes you a competitive applicant. But I mean, overall, obviously you want the best GPA and the best PCAT you can get if your school requires the PCAT. But yeah, like, don't freak out about it. So many people like are so afraid to apply to schools just because they're afraid they won't get in. And I did that for so long. Like, when I was in college, I wanted to be in the medical field. I wanted to go to medical school in college. And I just thought I was too dumb and I wouldn't get in. And then I became a teacher. And now, after applying to pharmacy school and being in pharmacy school, I'm like, what the heck? Like, why did I not go for it when I was in college? Now, I'm glad I did not go to medical school because blood and touching and the physical exams, like, I don't want to do that. But I'm so happy with where I'm at right now. But have confidence in yourself, because they're like, especially in high schools, and I can talk from a former teacher's perspective, they push like AP classes and advanced classes so hard, and they tell you like you're not going to get anywhere if you don't have like A's in all these classes, and that's baloney. So have confidence in yourself. Do as best you can. Do extracurriculars. Be a well-rounded person. And you'll be fine. Don't worry about it. The second part of that same question is, are you doing a co-op in your pharmacy school? Don't know what a co-op is. So no, I'm not. Okay, the next question is, what will you be doing in summer at school? So like my actual summer session. So I go down on Monday. So today, what is today? Today is Wednesday the 24th. My school session starts the 30th. So I'll be going down on Memorial Day because I have to stay in a hotel because I don't live there. And we actually did get our schedule, our tentative like summer schedule with what we'll be doing every day. And basically, so we had pharmaceutics 1 in the fall and pharmaceutics 2 in the spring, but we haven't been there to do labs. So we'll be doing labs, pretty much at least 1, if not 2 labs a day, for pharmaceutics 1 and pharmaceutics 2. So we'll be doing that. We also have an immunizations training one day. So we're going to get like certified to give immunizations. So I actually have to do like a course before I go, like the didactic part of it. Before I go down there, and then that will be like a full day training of immunizations. What else will we be doing? We have communications. So like we have the online class where we did like practice interviews with our classmates, but it was all on the webcam and it was really like a pain in the butt, I'm not gonna lie. So we're actually going to do that face-to-face while we're there, which is cool. And then we have a final for that class as well over there, so that'll be fun to actually take a final like in a classroom instead of in my office in my house. We have some stuff about just like getting ready for our P2 year, getting ready for our rotations this summer. And then the very last day on there will be our white coat ceremony. So I'll try to have some of my family members record some of that for you as well. So I can make like a vlog of that. But yeah, so summer will be very busy, and let me know if you want me to vlog while I'm there. Like maybe like a weekly vlog. I'll be there for 3 weeks, so maybe I can do like I don't know. Do you want me to do like a weekly vlog each week or like a 3-week long vlog? I think that would be pain. I don't know. Let me know if you want or even interested in seeing a vlog of my summer session. Next question. Can you tell us how rotations went since you did not have pharmacy school experience? So they're saying like in the future. So yeah, so definitely. I start my rotations at the end of June. I'll be in the hospital for my first one. So I do 4 weeks at an institutional pharmacy. So for me, I'm doing it at a hospital near me. And then I'll be doing 4 weeks at a community pharmacy. So for me, I'll be doing it at a Target, like a CVS Target. So yeah, I'll totally let you know how it goes, because I am nervous. Like I said in my last video, I am nervous because I don't have pharmacy experience. So I will definitely do videos after each of those rotations and just tell you what to expect if you're going into those, especially if you have no experience like me, what you should prepare for and all that stuff. So I got you. The next question is, what should I do the summer before pharmacy school? So up to you. Okay, to me, it depends on how long it's been since you've been out of school. So if you just graduated undergrad with like your bachelor's in biology or chemistry or something, you're probably fine. Like, don't worry about it. What I recommend you do is whatever school you got into, go on their website and look at what classes you'll be taking the first semester or first year, and go from there. So if you have calculations your first semester like I did, review your algebra. That's all you need is algebra, but make sure you can math. If you have like physiology, maybe review. If you took anatomy in college, maybe review that stuff. I wouldn't try to teach yourself anything new unless you really want to, but most classes, like, they walk you through it. I mean, they do kind of throw you in, but like, you'll be okay. If you want to start learning your top 300 drugs, just so you kind of have like a leg up so you're not super stressed trying to learn that with all the other content during the semester, you can do that. That's up to you. Don't stress yourself out like, oh my gosh, I have to learn all this stuff before school. Like, don't be like that. You know, you'll be fine. The schools are really good with not giving you more than they think you can handle. But I would do like biochem, math, like make sure your algebra skills are good. And then if you want to learn the drugs, you can. And even like anatomy or physiology, if you have that class in the fall, maybe take it. And general chemistry and stuff. Make sure you know like your general sciences. You'll be fine. If they accepted you into the school, they want you to succeed. They think that you're going to succeed. Do you know what I mean? So don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Okay, next question. What advice would you give to someone who will need to work full time while in undergrad? Good luck. Well, in undergrad, I think it's a lot easier, you know, obviously than in a doctorate program. I think you can't, it's probably gonna be really hard to do both full-time though, so it might take you like longer to get your classes done if you have to work full-time. But if that's what you have to do to support yourself and to support your family, then that's what you have to do, and it might just take a little bit longer, and that's fine. I recommend finding a school that has evening classes, because if you're working full-time, it's going to be really hard to physically go to school like at 1 o'clock in the afternoon or something. Or find like a distance school, an online school. Make sure it's like accredited and like legit. Make sure you have some type of organization, because you know, when you have that much stuff going on, it's really hard to keep everything organized and straight, like due dates and all that stuff. So just be very organized. But if that's what you got to do, that's what you're going to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you will be fine. You just have to really plan it out, structure it out, and study smart. Study actively. You don't want to waste time studying, because you're not going to have the time. So just make sure you're actively studying your answer questions and things like that to study, instead of just like reading over PowerPoints, because it's not going to help you. Okay, next question is about student loans. So it says, do student loans cover the cost of living? Yes. So I'm not working right now. I have tutored a little bit some high school students in chemistry, because that's what I used to teach. So I got a little bit of extra money from that, but I live on loans. I don't work part-time or full-time. I don't work at all. So, yes, so your student loans cover your cost of living. Now, it depends on where you live, if that really does like cover your cost of living, or if you're going to struggle a little bit. Like I said, I live with my fiance, so I'm lucky in that we have like combined money, so we're good. If I lived by myself, I think I'd be struggling. I probably would have had to move back in with my parents, to be honest with you, because the area that I live is very expensive, and I don't think I would have been able to like pay my rent and like all my bills on the loans that I'm on. But yeah, that's just kind of depends on where you live and like your specific stuff. But everybody I know takes out loans, because unless you're like really, really wealthy, it's expensive. It's $50,000 a year. I don't know anybody who can pay that out of pocket, unless you're from like the military or something and you're getting money from your GI Bill to pay it. And that's not out of pocket, that's assisted. You know what I'm saying? So, yes, you will live on loans, because it's very expensive. Next question, also on loans. Can you pay for the first 2 years and put the second ones on loans? Yeah, totally. If you have the means to do that, then you can totally do that. I'm jealous and I wish I could do that, but yeah, and you don't even have to take out the full amount in loans. Like, you could just take out as many loans as you need, to live on, you know. Of course, I take out the full amount because I'm poor. But, so yeah, you can pay as many years as you can, and then take out loans for what you can't afford. Okay, this next question, how many people fail out after the first year? So, I don't want to like make it sound bad about my school, because it's not my school. I think if you go into the program not prepared, maybe you thought you were ready for it, but you're not. Maybe you have a family and it's hard to balance everything. It's hard. So my class started with 24 people in the distance education program. After the first semester, so like in December, we lost 4 people. So we're down to 20. I don't know if everybody made it through the spring semester. I think so, but I guess I probably won't know until I go down for summer and see who comes. But as far as I know, everybody got through spring. And they're actually adding people to our class from the on-campus program at that school. They're adding people from that program to the DE program to make up for the people who dropped out. So as far as I know, we've lost 4. Which, what percent is that? We've lost like 17% of our class, if you're a math person. I was surprised that many people like dropped out. The first semester was hard for a lot of people. And it's a big adjustment. You're not used to it. You're not used to studying like that. You're not used to the pace or the graduate level classes. It's so new. So I think a lot of people weren't really ready. And of the people who dropped out, they have kids and they had families, and I think they probably still had to work, you know, and I think it was just probably really difficult to balance everything, and maybe it wasn't what they thought it was going to be, which is fine, you know. And so I'm not looking at them like, oh, they failed out because they're too dumb. Like, no, like they probably just realized this wasn't what they wanted to do, and that's totally fine. Sucks though, they probably have loans that they have to pay back, but don't freak out, you're not going to fail out, okay? You're not, because you watch my videos. Okay, next question is, how do you prepare for labs? So I haven't had labs yet. But you know, I did take classes in college. So I'll make a separate video on this when I start doing my labs in the fall, not the fall, in the summer when I go down there. I'll do a separate video on labs and like how to prepare for them and like how to study for labs. But I definitely would read the lab before, like the night before you're actually going to have the lab. Read through it. Make sure you understand each of the steps. Make sure you understand what the lab is supposed to be teaching you. Just go into it kind of just having a general idea of what you're doing. If you're in pharmacy and the lab is like using the wet gum method to make an emulsion, okay? Go on YouTube and see if there's a video on it, because for pharmaceutics, we had questions on some lab techniques to prepare stuff, and I was like, I don't freaking know. Like, I'm not in the lab. Like, I don't know what the heck this is. So I Googled it because it's really hard, or I YouTubed it, because it's really hard to just read the steps of something that you haven't done and like really understand what it's talking about. So I went on YouTube and I searched it, and I found videos of people demonstrating it for like pharmacy tech programs and stuff. And so that helped me so much, because I was like, oh, this is what we're doing. I had no idea. That's not what I pictured in my head. So YouTube can be your best friend. Ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask your group mates, like, I'm not understanding what this is saying. Do you know what this is? Or ask your professor, like, can you clarify this for me? Because I'm just not sure what we're doing. There's no shame in that. I think it's way worse to pretend you know what you're doing when you have no idea. And your professor is there to answer your questions. That's what they're paid for, you know? So don't be afraid to ask questions. Just be prepared, and you'll be all right, you know? Okay, next question is, how do you feel about the pharmacy field being saturated? Are you worried you won't find a job? I get this question so much. And I have heard conflicting things. I've heard it's very saturated and very hard to get a job. I've heard there are plenty of jobs. I've heard both. I think it depends on where you live. So I think if you live somewhere where there's a pharmacy school right in your city, or like a couple near you, it's probably a lot more saturated because they're graduating all these people right where you live. If you live somewhere that's not near a pharmacy school, it's probably a lot easier to find a job. And this is another reason why I really want to make sure that I do really well in my classes, because I want to be a competitive applicant for a job. And if I decide to do a residency, I want that option. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, and actually my dad at his work, one of his clients places pharmacists in jobs, so I'm happy about that. And he was saying it's really right now not about who you know, but it's about your grades. So you really want to make sure that you're doing well academically, you know, so that when you do graduate, you are a competitive applicant. But you know, I think it's like anything else. Like when I was a teacher, everybody said, oh my God, it's so saturated, it's gonna be so hard to find a job. And I found a job right out of school, like right when I graduated. And then the next year I wanted to work at a different school, and I got a job before that first year was even over. I think it's like anything else. I think it kind of goes up and down. And I also think that like now that they are kind of expanding the role of pharmacists, we're allowed to do more vaccinations now. We're trying to get, you know, be able to prescribe more and get the rights that like doctors have. And I think over time, they're going to need more pharmacists, because we're going to be allowed to do more, if that makes sense. That we're going to be part of that healthcare team. And I think that over time, they're going to have more of a need for pharmacists. So that's just my opinion. I'm not worried about it. And I'm also, I have a fallback career. So even if I can't get a job as a pharmacist right out the gate, I do have something to fall back on. But you also really want to make sure you make good connections, make good impressions. So when you're in your rotations, do the best you can. When you're meeting people, getting a mentor, like we have to get a mentor for our school, like I'm trying to make sure I ask her questions and be impressive, because then when you're about to graduate, you can ask them like, hey, have you heard of any job openings? Do you know of anything? And then they can call their friends, and word of mouth can get around, and you can get hired that way too. So be impressive on paper, like with your GPA, and be impressive in your rotations. And I think you'll be a competitive applicant, and so hopefully it won't be a problem. You might have to get a job doing like per diem kind of stuff, or being like a floater kind of pharmacist at the beginning before you get like a set schedule. I've heard that happens, which, I mean, if that gets me a job, I'll still be making more part-time than I was as a teacher full-time. So I'm okay with it. If this is the field you want to go into it. You'll be fine. Okay, and the last question I have is, what will you wear to rotations? So maybe I'll do like an outfit video, maybe while I'm in my hotel for summer, because we have to dress professionally every day there. So maybe I'll show you some outfits that I'm wearing. But basically for rotations, we'll have our white coats by then. So I'll have my white coat. I'll probably just wear like something like this, like a blouse of some sort, with your white coat over it, and then just like dress pants or slacks, you know, and I will be wearing flats because I'm not about to be in heels all day. No open-toed shoes. You want to be professional. Maybe a dress if it's like at least to your knee, or maybe a little above the knee, but like for girls, like you want a dress that covers, no boobies out, you know. You want to look professional. You know what professional looks like if you don't go on Pinterest. Maybe I'll do a video on that if anybody's interested. Let me know. Let me know. Okay, so that's all the questions that I have for you today. If you have any more that I didn't address, or if one of your questions was in there but I didn't address it fully and you're wanting more of an answer, please leave them in the comments below. I am here for you. This is why I started my YouTube channel, is to help other people get into pharmacy school and succeed. And yeah, so any questions you have, please message me. That is what I'm here for, okay? So, yeah, with that, this is probably the longest video I've ever had on my channel. I'm so sorry. Hopefully I'll edit it down so that it's not like super long. Guys, thank you so much for sending me your questions if you sent one. And you don't have to wait for a Q&A video to send me questions. Snap me, message me on Instagram, message me on Twitter, leave a comment below, message me privately on YouTube, do whatever you want, but please ask me your questions, okay? And with that, it is about to storm. So if you can tell, it's like really dark in here. So I'm gonna go, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye guys.